All right, good evening. My name is Linda Morley, and I am your student's BEAS teacher, Biology and Ecology of Aquatic Systems. I'm going to just talk a little bit tonight, just give you a little background information about my experience and then about what's going on in our classroom. So again, BEAS stands for Biology and Ecology of Aquatic Systems. So this was a course that originated at West, and it used to be called B.E.A.S, and it was just for the Brandywine flows. They based most of the class on studying the Brandywine. At West, they're close enough to walk to it. Then they kind of redesigned the course to look more at a broader aspect, looking at the biology and ecology of all aquatic systems. But we do focus on the Brandywine and the Delaware watershed a lot. So your students are going to be learning a lot about the water sources around where we live. So a little bit about my experience. This is my 7th year at East. I think I was doing the calculations. I think it's my 7th year. I started out here actually as a chemistry teacher, even though my degree was in biology. Then I went and got my teaching certificate to teach biology. I started out teaching chemistry. So I taught chemistry here for 3 years. I taught biology 1 year before I came to East. I was at Pottsgrove High School and taught biology and environmental science there. Then I taught 3 years of IBC here, which is that course for the students that fail the biology keystone. So it's kind of like a 2nd year of biology. Taught AP Environmental Science for 2 years, and this is my 3rd year teaching biology and ecology of aquatic systems, which is my absolute favorite of the classes because we do get to learn a lot of interesting things. There's not that stress of having an AP exam at the end, or in biology, there's a keystone exam. It's kind of just more relaxed and we don't have too much stress at the end. And we learn a lot of really relevant and important information about the environment and the water around us. So just kind of a year in view, this is all the topics we will cover. Right now we're in the introduction, so we're talking about the water cycle again. We talked about how climate change affects the water cycle. We introduce watersheds, talking about population and pollution, and just giving a little bit of information on that. And we are actually going to jump around to do, and I forgot to change this from last year because we had to change, but we are going to be doing Unit 6 right now. We're going to talk about water quality testing, and hopefully, I'm still waiting for the approval, we will get out on the Brandywine on October 1st for our canoe trip and to actually do all of the testing that we learn about. And they'll end up writing a report at the end, and I'll show you the reports that we've been doing for the last couple of years. Then we learn about topography, go into more detail about watersheds, learn about all the different water systems, oceans, lakes, ponds, wetlands, coral reefs. So we do looking at all the different water systems there are on the planet. Look at ecology, water pollution and human impacts, land use, and then the future of land use and water systems. So that's, we kind of go over a lot of topics, but it's all based on water. So this is an example of after our canoe trip and after all of our water quality testing, I have the students make up a scientific poster. I learned recently, or I went back to grad school a couple of years ago, and you had to present your research in a poster. And at that time, only a couple of years earlier, my daughter was in college for biology, and she had to do these posters often. So I think right now, some of the lab reports are now shifting in college to doing scientific posters. So I wanted to give the students a little bit of practice doing it at least once. So if they have to do it in college, like, oh, I know how to do that, or have, I don't know, some kind of knowledge of what has to be done. So this is an example of some of the research in the posters the students did. So they have their research here, pictures of the canoe trip that we went on. This is another good one. That one was just, each group focused on one type of test. So that one was a chemical. This is looking at doing the biological test. So they showed pictures of some of the things that they found and how they did that with their introduction, discussion, and procedures and their data. So that's just one interesting thing that they do like to do, and they do really get a chance to show their work in an interesting way. They come out, I get them printed out as posters, and they can keep them if they'd like. Another fun thing about the class, we do participate in Trout in the Classroom, where we raise trout from little eggs. So this is when the eggs are starting to go to their next stage, the alveolon, I say that wrong, and then this is the baby trouts. And then we release them in the spring. We haven't released them as a class yet because the first year I did this, it was COVID. Then the second year was COVID. And there was only a few, we couldn't do field trips last year, so we didn't get to go out and release them. So I did them on my own. But I'm hoping that will be another field trip in the spring where we get to go and release the fish. So supplies, I'm not requiring a lot. They just need a notebook or paper. And most of these are just optional. The note cards, the last couple of years I was stressing making flashcards. My grad project thesis was on learning vocabulary, different ways to learn it, and the importance of learning vocabulary in science. And I was trying to get the students to make note cards, but I was having a hard time getting kids to actually bring them in, and I'd have to supply the note cards. That can be a little expensive. So we will do vocabulary. If they want to make flashcards, then those note cards are optional. In the colored pencils, they don't need that. I have them available, but if they want to bring some in, they can do that. And then finally, what a lot of people are interested in is the grading policy for the class. As you probably heard in other classrooms, the school has us use 3 grading categories: participation, assignments, and assessments. Teachers use them a little different in each classroom. The way I have it broken up, participation is 20%. So that's going to, what's included in that is just participating. Like when I have a Kahoot going, that you're participating in actually doing the Kahoot, because that's usually a review. If we do notes with the Nearpod, that they're completing the activities within the Nearpod. Notebook checks, I'll do a notebook check each chapter. That'll go into participation, because notebook checks means they're actually actively taking notes during class. Assignments and assessments, I split that evenly because some of the assignments are, that's going to be, some of the projects do fall into that. I think I put the projects here as assessments, but some will be in that assignment category in the labs. And the assessments are usually the tests and quizzes. I try to make it even because there are some students that really excel at assessments and some that excel at assignments, at doing projects. So I want to make sure that you have the possibility of doing okay in this class, even if you fail a test. If you're really good at assignments, you're not going to get lower than a C. As long as you do the work, it's very difficult to get below a C if you're doing the work. Most of the students who have gone below that, it's just that they don't do the work. So as long as you put it in effort, you will get a good grade in this course. All right, I guess that's my last slide. I will go back to my email. I had it on that first slide. Again, there's my email. If you want to write that down, please reach out to me at any time. I will respond to you that day. Your students are free to come talk to me at any time. I have my schedule up on the Schoology page, so they can come find me wherever they are, whatever time of the day my schedule is up, they can come find me. And again, if you have any questions at all, or need information about anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.